Imagine this. It's the dead of night in a quiet San Jose suburb, the kind where streetlights flicker like dying fireflies, and the air hangs heavy with the scent of eucalyptus and distant rain. A woman's scream rips through the silence. Not a cry for help, but a guttural, animal wail that claws at your eardrums, echoing off the stucco walls of sleepy townhouses. Gunshots follow, sharp and merciless, like thunder cracking open the sky. 3 lives end in a hail of bullets, their blood pooling warm and sticky on the cold tile floor, the metallic tang mixing with the faint, acrid smoke of cordite. And the killer? He slips away into the shadows, whispering to himself about loose ends, as if snuffing out souls is just another errand on a to-do list. Welcome to the nightmare of Joseph Vicencio, the 27-year-old shadow who turned a cozy apartment on Chenoweth Avenue into a slaughterhouse on September 16, 2025. Today, we're diving deep into this horror, not just the gore-soaked facts splashed across local headlines, but the twisted wiring inside a man's brain that made him pull the trigger. From his fractured childhood to the psychological black hole that swallowed 3 innocents, we'll peel back the layers like skin from a fresh wound. Stick around, because by the end you'll wonder, could this monster be lurking in the house next door? Let's start at the beginning. Because monsters aren't born under full moon, they're forged in the quiet cruelties of broken homes. Joseph Vicencio didn't drop from the sky with a smoking gun. He clawed his way out of a childhood that sounds like the setup for a tragedy. Picture a little boy, maybe 5 or 6, wide-eyed and hungry, rummaging through kitchen cabinets in a Santa Clara home that reeks of stale smoke and unspoken regrets. His dad, Jimmy Vicencio, later confessed in a raw, gut-punching video on social media, posted just days after the arrest, that he was a villain in his son's origin story. "I was the bad father," Jimmy said, his voice cracking like dry earth underfoot. "I introduced him to a lot of garbage that never should have come into his life." We're talking substance abuse, the kind that turned a family into ghosts haunting their own house. Jimmy's drug-fueled haze left young Joseph and his older brother fending for themselves, abandoned in a whirlwind of neglect that psychologists call attachment disruption. It's simple, really. When a kid's primary caregiver is more ghost than parent, that child grows up wired for chaos. No secure base to return to, no voice whispering, "You're safe." Instead, a gnawing void, a schema, as Freudian analysts might label it, of abandonment that echoes through every relationship like a bad dream you can't wake from. From a psych perspective, this is textbook. Early trauma like Joseph's plant seeds of what's known as borderline personality traits. Intense fear of rejection, emotional roller coasters that swing from clingy devotion to explosive rage. Think about it. Have you ever felt that pit in your stomach when someone pulls away? Even a little? Multiply that by 1,000, season it with isolation, and you've got a mind primed for violence. Reports from court docs unearthed by ABC 7 News in mid-September paint Vicencio's teen years as a slow burn toward explosion. By 17, he's in a San Jose group home, smashing windows in fits of vandalism. May 2017, charged for shattering glass during a petty spat. It's not just anger. It's a scream for control in a world that already slipped through his fingers. And guns? Oh, they weren't toys. They were his twisted security blanket. His dad admitted Joseph had a fascination with guns from way back, a fixation that screams unresolved trauma. In psychoanalysis, we call this a displacement, channeling the powerlessness of a neglected kid into the cold, phallic certainty of firearm. No wonder by 19 he's carrying concealed weapons, landing on a 72-hour psych hold after blurting to cops he wanted to end it all. Suicidal ideation, they noted, laced with depressive episodes that ran in the family like a curse. But here's the hook that keeps you up at night. Was this inevitable, or did the system fail him at every turn? Fast forward to 2019, and Joseph's not a lost boy anymore. He's a 21-year-old time bomb. September rolls around, humid and tense, and he's prowling downtown San Jose, semi-automatic in hand. Surveillance footage catches him in the shadows of a parking garage near City Hall, then striding toward the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Library at San Jose State. 11 shots ring out, pop, 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 like firecrackers from hell, bullets punching through glass and concrete. One nearly drills a freshman studying on the 8th floor, shards raining down like deadly confetti. No deaths that time, but the charge? Attempted murder. 13 felonies stacked like cordwood. Prosecutors wanted 9 years. He got probation, later expunged. Why? Mental health court from 2021 to 2022, where judges wag fingers and prescribe therapy instead of bars. Noble, right? But as legal analyst Stephen Clark told ABC7, peering into those 100-plus pages of docs, were there red flags not addressed? Services he needed but didn't get? It's a question that chills. In trying to heal him, do we just give the wolf sharper teeth? Hey, if you're hooked on unraveling minds like this, peeling back the what-ifs that turn whispers into screams, do me a solid. Smash that like button right now and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell, too, so you never miss a dive into the darkness. Your support keeps these stories alive, and trust me, we got more monsters waiting in the wings. Now, let's creep into the heart of the beast, the relationships that weren't lifelines but nooses. Joseph's worldview? A paranoid funhouse mirror, where love twists into possession faster than you can say red flag. No deep dives into formal education or jobs and records. Group homes don't breed resumes. But he scraped by, bouncing between parole and the fringes. Religiously? Silent on that front. But his actions scream a godless void, no higher power to temper the storm. Emotionally, though, catastrophic. Enter Tarrah Lynn Taylor, 26, his girlfriend, the woman who'd soon become his final loose end. They shared that Chinawa townhouse with her roommate, 24-year-old Jeannessa Caillean Lurie, and Lurie's boyfriend, 26-year-old Max Chavez Ryan, a city housing worker, the kind of guy who helped the unhoused find footing in a world that kicked them down. Max's colleagues at San Jose's Department of Housing mourned him like a brother, Eric Sullivan. The director, telling KTVU Fox 2, Max touched a lot of those families at the highest point of need in their lives. Imagine that, a man building bridges, gunned down in a home that should have been sanctuary. But back to Joseph and Tarrah. Their bond? A powder keg disguised as passion. Court affidavits from Detective Christina Giza, filed September 19th and splashed across Cron 4, reveal the build-up like a horror flick slow zoom. Sunday, September 14th. Joseph strangles her, hands like vices around her throat, squeezing until her vision blurs and her gasps turn to wheezes. The pressure on her windpipe, the blackout spots dancing in her eyes. It's not just assault. It's a primal reclaiming, rooted in what's called narcissistic injury in psych lit. When Tarrah pulls away, filing that desperate restraining order 2 days later, Joseph's ego shatters. He can't handle the abandonment scheme of firing on all cylinders, that old childhood wound reopening, flooding him with shame rage. Monday, he punches her in the chest, a dull thud that leaves bruises blooming like dark flowers under her skin. She calls the cops, voice trembling over the line. He's hitting me. Strangling me. Police log it as domestic violence, name Joseph as suspect. They're hunting him, but he slips the net. Hours tick by. The air thickens with dread. Why her? Why them? From a psychoanalytic lens, Tarrah was a perfect victim. Intimate enough to wound his core self, vulnerable enough to dominate. Serial offender profiles, like those in the FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit playbook, flagged this as power-assertive violence, not random but ritualistic, silencing threats to his fragile empire. Jeannessa and Max? Collateral in his paranoid script. They'd witnessed the beatings, talked about him. As one witness quoted Joseph snarling, "Couldn't have loose ends." He allegedly confessed to a buddy hours before, but a criminal complaint from Santa Clara DA Jeff Rosen. Imagine his breath hot and ragged, eyes wild like a cornered animal. "People talking about me. I handled it." That's antisocial personality disorder peeking through. Zero empathy, a moral compass spun off axis. Add probable PTSD from his chaotic youth, and you got a cocktail. Hypervigilance twisting into hallucinated betrayals. Depression fueling the fatalism. Why guns? That childhood fascination evolved into a fetish. Extension is fractured ID. The impulsive, rage-driven part Freud warned about. In simple terms, pulling the trigger wasn't murder. It was excision, carving out the threat like a surgeon gone mad. The night it all erupts, September 16th, 12:26 a.m., the neighborhood's lulled into false peace. 911 lines light up. Gunshots. A woman screaming for help. Officers screech up, hearts pounding. Flashlights slice in the dark. They find Tarrah first, sprawled on the dew-slick lawn out front, her body a map of ruin. Multiple .40 caliber holes riddle her torso, blood gushing in rhythmic spurts with each failing heartbeat, soaking her nightshirt crimson. The coppery reek hits them like a wall, mixed with a sour bile of fierce sweat. She twitches, eyes glassy, whispering pleas that dissolve into gurgles as paramedics swarm. Inside, it's worse, a tableau from hell. Jeannessa is slumped against the kitchen counter, her skull a shattered melon, gray matter and bone fragments splattered across the fridge like abstract art gone wrong. One shot to the head, execution style, her final expression frozen in wide-eyed terror. Mouth agape in a silent scream. Max? He's in the living room, chest a sieve, lungs collapsing in wet rasps as he claws at the carpet, leaving bloody streaks. 3 bursts of fire, semi-auto efficiency, pop, 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 then reload, then oblivion. Shell casings glitter under the forensics lights. 10 or more, each a brass tombstone. Video from the block shows Joseph stalking in, hoodie up, purposeful stride like a predator scenting blood. He flees minutes later, ghosting into the night, leaving the acrid haze of gunpowder and the metallic symphony of dying breaths. Witnesses? They spill it all in those affidavits, voices hushed and haunted. One buddy, hours pre-massacre, hears Joseph rant. If you're talking about killing people, don't do it, the friend begs, per Jesus' report. But Joseph? He laughs it off, cold as a grave. Post-kill, he commandeers the guy's computer, Googling San Jose murders, fingers flying over keys slick with adrenaline sweat. Another call, 7 hours later. Friend confronts him, you do this? And Joseph? There was an issue with a man at the apartment. I handled it, like swatting a fly. The banality chills deeper than the gore. From psych angle, this is dissociative detachment, his mind fracturing under stress, depersonalizing the horror to cope. Ever zoned out during a fight, feeling like you're watching from above? For Joseph, that detachment let him fire without flinching. The victim's not people but props in his delusion. But wait, was this a full unraveling or just the tip of a bloodier iceberg? Hold that thought, because we're about to unpack why a mind like his doesn't just snap, it implodes, taking everyone down with it. Pause for a breath. Yeah, I know, it's heavy, the kind of heavy that sticks in your throat like bile. What do you think? Could Joseph's childhood neglect have been the spark, or was it the system's soft touch that fanned the flames? Drop your take in the comments below, right now. Argue with me. Let's dissect this beast together. Your voice matters in making sense of the madness. Diving deeper into the psyche, let's talk disorders, strip bare and simple. Joseph's rap sheet screams antisocial personality disorder, ASPD, the clinical tag for sociopathy light. No remorse. Chronic rule breaking, a thrill in the hunt. Remember that library shooting? Not rage blind, calculated, bullets aimed to maim and terrify. Pair it with borderline traits. The strangling of Tarrah? Classic splitting, loving her one breath, hating her the next when she dares seek safety. And depression? Familial shadow, manifesting in those 2019 suicide threats, a black dog that bites back with violence. PTSD lurks too, hyperarousal from abandonment, turning every no into a battlefield. In schematherapy, we trace it to emotional deprivation and mistrust abuse schemas, beliefs etched young that the world and lovers will always betray you. So why escalate to murder? Evolutionary psych chimes in a twisted survival mode. Eliminating threats restores illusory control. Tarrah files that order? It's not paperwork. It's annihilation of himself. He chooses her because intimacy amplifies the wound. Psychoanalysts call it repetition compulsion, replaying childhood loss to fix it through dominance. The others? Witnesses in a confabulated trial, silence to preserve the delusion. Compare it to your daily grind. Ever lash out at a partner over a text gone cold, heart racing like it's the end? That's the seed. Water with trauma, and it blooms into a massacre. Reports from Mercury News, September 18th edition. Quote D.A. Rosen. 3 wonderful, beautiful human beings. Their lives snuffed because Joseph couldn't bear the echo of his own emptiness. No religious anchor to temper it. No Bible verses or prayers to pull him back. His worldview? Nihilistic. Guns as gods in a godless realm. Relationships? Transactional traps. Love as leverage until it flips to lethal. San Jose Police Chief Paul Joseph nailed it in their September 17th release. Our detectives acted swiftly, but that doesn't change the fact that 3 innocent lives were taken. Swift? Joseph was nabbed the next day, September 17th, cornered by covert units and a merged squad in a tense midday takedown. No shootout, just cuffs clicking shut on wrists still humming with phantom recoil. Booked into Santa Clara main jail without bond, arraigned September 19th. Facing 3 murder counts, domestic violence enhancers, felon in possession charges. Special circ for multiple kills means life. No parole or convicted. Parole ended 2024. Irony's a bitch. As of now, plea hearing October 24th. Justice grinding slow but inexorable. And philosophically, here's the gut punch close. Joseph's end is a redemption. Its existential echo. Nietzsche warned of the abyss gazing back. Joseph dove in, dragging souls with him. In Sartre's lens, we're condemned to be free. Choices forging our hell. He chose the gun over the mirror, violence over vulnerability. Because facing the void terrified him more than inflicting it. But freedom's double-edged. Now, in that cell, the loose ends are alone. Regrets coiling like smoke. The screams he silenced replaying eternal. Is it karma? Cosmic joke? Or just the raw math of unchecked shadows? Pray for his soul, like his dad begged, but spare a fiercer prayer for the living, that we spot the fractures before they shatter us all. Phew, that's the descent. If this gripped you, twisted your gut like it did mine, subscribe now, midway through the madness, and like if you're still breathing after that, we unpack the unthinkables, so you don't have to alone. What's next? Drop a comment. Ever escaped a Joseph in your life? Share anonymously. We're all ghosts here.